The year 1917 marked a turning point in the Great War. Germany, after years of brutal conflict, began to falter. The entry of the United States into the war on the side of the Allies tipped the balance. Fresh American troops and resources bolstered the Allied forces, who had endured years of attrition. On the Eastern Front, Russia, ravaged by revolution and internal strife, signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany in 1918. While this brought temporary relief to the German war effort, it also freed up Allied troops for the Western Front. The German spring offensive of 1918, a desperate gamble to secure victory, ultimately failed. Allied counteroffensives, spearheaded by new technologies like tanks and aircraft, pushed back German forces. The German army, exhausted and demoralized, began to crumble. By the autumn of 1918, it was clear that defeat was inevitable. The German leadership, facing imminent collapse, sought an armistice. The writing was on the wall. Germany's war was lost. Years of relentless warfare took a heavy toll on German society. The civilian population, subjected to food shortages and economic hardship, grew increasingly weary of the war. The British naval blockade of German ports strangled the German economy and led to widespread deprivation. Rationing became commonplace and basic necessities grew scarce. The war, once a source of national unity, now bred discontent and dissent. Pacifist movements gained momentum, challenging the government's narrative of a righteous struggle. The German home front, once a bastion of support, was cracking under the strain of prolonged conflict. Germany's military strategies, initially successful, ultimately contributed to its downfall. The Schlieffen Plan, a lightning strike aimed at knocking France out of the war quickly, failed to achieve its objectives. The war on the Western Front devolved into a bloody stalemate, characterized by trench warfare and massive casualties. The Battle of Verdun, a brutal 10-month struggle, epitomized the futility of the conflict. Germany's use of unrestricted submarine warfare, intended to cripple British supply lines, backfired by drawing the United States into the war. Military blunders, coupled with the Allies' growing strength, sealed Germany's fate. Section 4. The Kaiser's Fall. Revolution and Abdication. As military defeat loomed, political turmoil engulfed Germany. Public support for the Kaiser Wilhelm II plummeted. He was seen as out of touch with the suffering of his people and ultimately responsible for the disastrous war. Protests and strikes erupted across Germany, fueled by war weariness and economic hardship. The German Revolution of 1918, inspired by the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, threatened to topple the monarchy. Faced with overwhelming opposition, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated on November 9, 1918, marking the end of the German Empire. Germany, once a mighty power, was now a republic in turmoil, grappling with the consequences of defeat. Section 5. A world reshaped, the legacy of defeat. Germany's defeat in World War I had profound implications for Europe and the world. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war but imposed harsh penalties on Germany. Germany was forced to accept blame for the war, cede territory, and pay massive reparations. The treaty, widely perceived as unjust by Germans, sowed the seeds of resentment and instability in the post-war world. The collapse of empires, the redrawing of borders, and the rise of new ideologies created a volatile international landscape. The Great War, meant to be the war to end all wars, instead set the stage for future conflicts.